Hey there, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Danny.
And this is Jim.
And today we have back with us one of our favorite people, Hilton Ariel Ruiz, producer, director, writer extraordinaire.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. And, let's never fall short of mentioning father of Zombie with a Shotgun.
Yes.
One of our favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, so we were just talking before beginning. It's been a while. There was pandemic. We took a break, and now
we're back.
Yeah,
and we want to catch
all kinds
up.
of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about what you've been up to and what's going on out there in the world with filmmaking and all that good stuff.
Yeah, wow. Where do I begin? You want me to start first?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's been a while. I don't know how long has it been, so I can't really say exactly. But, just to touch on filmmaking, filmmaking has changed. I think filmmaking has been not a favorite thing for people to want to be anymore. And I say that because unless I hear people say, I want to be a filmmaker. I hear people say, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a TikToker. I want to be
a content creator.
An influencer. And it's just starting to feel like, you start to think and wow, wow, this is really interesting, and there's signs everywhere about how independent, even when I was doing Zombie, that was like a way, like a lot of people were interested. People wanted to help. People wanted to invest. There were more investors and to come into that sort of realm of independent filmmaking. And here now it's just completely changed, and it's changing so rapidly with AI, and it just, everything is just changed. And I have to say that filmmaking to me has become, I don't know. I don't know where to put my finger on it, and it's kind of like disappointing in a way that it seems like, it's not that thing anymore. I just remember everybody just wants to be filmmakers no more. It's just, I'm just, don't get me wrong. There are people that want to be filmmakers, people that content creators believe they're filmmakers, but I let them believe that. But it's just something strange. There's something that's going on that's definitely evolving, and I can't really figure it out. Only thing I would say is that maybe it's a good thing where I'm still doing it. I'm still going to always keep on doing it. And now, like, a lot of the how saturated it is, it becomes less saturated, where now I can just guide my way back, into it, more and more, and get more recognizable. And, but I still love it. It's been years. I think COVID was a blessing in disguise. Obviously, I don't think, I wanted COVID to ever happen, but I think COVID made everybody, kind of like sit back and as artists, writers, anything you want to call, kind of feel like, you kind of like try to reinvent yourself at that time, trying to say, what is going to happen now? And for me, I felt like I took a lot of my projects that I had. I had so many projects that I did, never released them because time was so fast. And I felt like every time I did a project, it was like, damn, I got to jump onto this other project because we got to do this. So there was a lot of projects that I felt I never finished.
Okay.
So when COVID came, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got like maybe 10 projects I've never finished. Let me go to here, boom, boom. So slowly but surely since COVID, even till now, I'm releasing films that I've done like years and bringing them out. And I thought that was really cool. And it kind of like makes me look at the work and appreciate the work. Some of the work that I felt like I would never release. And talking about Kyle Hester, he convinced me. I had a project I did about maybe 15 to 20 years. And it was like one of my found footage projects. It was called Amityville Lost Tapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was during that time that I wanted to make my own interpretation of like found footage because everybody was in it. And I did one. And I didn't release it because I felt like, nobody's interested. No one cares. Nobody wants to see this. And that was one of the projects that I found in my storage. I'm like, wow, look, I got the master. Let's do it. And Kyle's like, dude, let me see it. So I showed it to him, and he's like, "Oh man, dude, we can do something here." I was like, "Let me help you. We could check make a new score of the film and shoot new scenes here and there." So I said, you know what? Why not? We did it, released it last year around June or July, and it's so funny because it's become like a new spin off. Like I was never thinking in years that this film it's made a little bit noise out there. Like people's asking me, "Hey, are you gonna do the sequel and all that stuff?" Well, that's like one
Nice.
project, and then I dug into other documentaries, and I did a documentary 20 years ago. Again, another documentary I did about this man who is a photographer photographing his family for 60 years. His brother was his biggest inspiration. His brother was born mentally disabled. At that time, was called retardation, and the photograph shows the 60-year span from his brother, his mother, his father, and how you could see them getting older. And he's a very he's a known photographer here. And 20 years ago, I did it. I started shooting it, and shooting it year after year, year after year, year after year. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this, shooting this all this time? So last year, and it stopped me if I'm boring you guys.
Oh,
No.
hardly.
So last year he calls me and he said, Hilton, because we always just say, when is this project ever going to end? It's like, I don't know. And then he calls me last year and he goes, hey, I think it's time for us to finish this project. He said, it's been 20 years. And he's like, and I got cancer and I think I'm not going to make it. And let's shoot the last of you and I and getting together and talking about photography and talking about stuff. I was like, wow. So I went out, shot it. And then that's another project Kyle helped me with. We finished the project. We cut it. We finished it like 3 months ago, to the point that we were like, are we going to release this through FilmHub? Again, there goes FilmHub. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
Or should I go out and try the festivals? So I think I'm going to try the festivals, but that's another project that I did 20 years ago, and now I'm releasing that. And all the midst of all that stuff happening, me trying to get Zombie sequel out, trying to find out, getting investors. Oh my God. I don't have to tell you guys, we get so many people on a weekly basis interested, want to do it. And I'm tired of all the broken promises. Oh, it's going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. It's always going to happen. And, that's another thing, it's just this year, but believe it or not, I had a producers meeting not too long ago and talk about like, hey, what are we going to do with Zombie Part 2? Like what we have to do to, recreate the script, whatever. And that's something I really want to do. I believe I can still owe the fans to that. I feel like it's such I built it such a big momentum for it, a big, IP, could be a huge IP. I built so much of it that I feel there's a responsibility to get a part 2 out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, those are the things right now that I can, I could think of, like I've been doing since probably the last time. And, I released other, little shorts here and there. And, but yeah, that's that's what's been happening. I mean, I'm starting to now talking about it. I finally, decided also to, write a book, sort of like an autobiography about myself, but it's about how The Exorcist was a big part of my life and how I looked at it as being something that I could relate to it throughout my life and my childhood, seeing the film. Mm-hmm. So it was an interesting book that I'm writing, and that also I'm going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks also.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Yep. Let me just back up a second.
Okay.
Zombie with a Shotgun 2.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. If James Cameron can keep making the same movie over and over and now a third time and just give it a different title.
A fourth time.
Is this the fourth one?
Wait.
No, the fourth one's coming.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't see. Therein lies the problem. But let me tell you, Zombie with a Shotgun 2 absolutely will gain traction. You get it on a screen, they will come.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. there's a couple things that I'm going to be doing. I have to say, like, when, in the last couple of years, trying to, like, I guess everybody's trying to figure out where the hell are we now after this whole COVID thing and trying to figure out thing. I have to say that I've come to the point, like, now I'm going to push it more, kind of like maybe put it into my back seat last couple of years, but now it's time. It's time for me to get on the driver's seat and start, let's do this now, So, yeah.
Okay, so I have two questions, Hilton. The first one's pretty short, but the second one might be a little longer. So the first one, you're talking about The Exorcist. I don't know if you're familiar with William Peter Blatty's other work. Have you ever seen The Ninth Configuration?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, you should, because it is an excellent film.
Yes.
It is wild. And it's got
Stacy
Keach. So many people.
Yeah.
That are so early on, and they look so young and babyish.
Oh, I know.
And, but that is
Stacy Keach still has baby fat on his face in that movie.
I tell you a little bit if you want to give you a little bit of what the work that the book that I wrote about, if you guys are interested.
Yeah.
More. So the book is basically, The Power of Regret Compels Me. That's the name of the book. It's about me being young and how I grew up, in a Latin family that was surrounded by, whatever you want to call it, black magic, santero, brujeria, all that stuff I grew up with. And watching Exorcist was sort of like, for me, at first it was scary and it was just, all this stuff about, kind of relate to it. And as I got older, I started to realize more and more about the film and how it meant so much to me. And throughout the whole film, throughout the book, it has all these things. And what I really wanted to say was that I looked at the film very wrong. I looked at the film in a way that I should have never looked at it. When I was young, you're scared. But the movie to me was not what I thought as I got older. As I got older and I looked at it, the real horror was basically the priest who wanted to be this boxer at one time, and how the horrors of regret about being this 45, 50-year-old man or whatever he was, to basically realize he wasted his life being a priest. Mm-hmm. And that is the biggest horror in life. The biggest horror in life is you getting to this age and looking back and say, holy shit, did I just wasted all my time? I can't go back. I can't get the youth back. I can't do that. And the people that raised me in my life happened to them. They sacrificed their living. They sacrificed their life to come from another country to come here to help me, to raise me and do stuff like that. And I saw that through that. And I felt like, damn, that sucks. You know what I mean? So I kind of looked at that film as that was the biggest horror in Exorcist. It wasn't, Regan being, that was the backdrop. But the real horror was the regret of just you waking up and basically saying, damn, I can't live that dream because I wasted all my time in my life. Now that is scary.
Right.
And so as I got older, I realized that. And I realized that many people in life go through that. Many people go through that in life.
Oh, yeah.
And I try to resonate that with the people that surrounded me as for me, even to fulfill myself as being an artist. They sacrifice it for me to live my dream. So that's what basically this book is about. The book is about that. It's about my life, where I grew up, how I grew up in Manhattan, grew up in Queens, and the things that I've seen with my father and my mother, and through all these witchcrafts and these events that we had in the house, and how I related that to The Exorcist and some scenes in the films and everything. And so it's a pretty neat, cool ass film that I always say film. I always wanted to do this for years. And I'm like, now it's the time, since I got a lot of I want to say free time, but it's just something was calling for me to do it.
Sure.
So you make time for things that you need to do.
Yeah. So that's basically, that's something I'm going to release in a couple of weeks, and, interested anybody can, get it through Amazon and stuff like that. But go ahead, ask me anything.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to add that to my reading list. Send a link, because I do read a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 54 books from June.
58.
58 books from last June to December 31st.
Yeah. That was
That's when she started counting. Her and her friends are doing this whole read thing. Yeah. And she printed, Danny's big into 3D printing now. Bought her a 3D printer to print D&D figures, basically. And then another printer and all kinds of stuff. So
those things are cool, right?
They are
markers
cool.
And
I bought my son for his Christmas. I bought him this huge 3D printer, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? He's making all these toys and everything," and I'm like, "Oh,
you can make props for movies."
Yeah.
I mean, she made Lily, our daughter. She loved
it's Arcane, the show Arcane on Netflix. Yes. She wanted Jinx's gun, so I printed her that, and she painted it, and all kinds of cool stuff. But okay, so my second question then was, you're talking about how film has changed, like independent film and people being interested in filmmaking, and I agree with you. And actually, Jim and I were talking about this. We've been talking about this, I think, maybe for months now.
Yes.
But I think that we're sort of on the precipice of filmmaking sort of fundamentally changing. Like this is a big time for filmmaking. The studios are not doing well, right? The independent filmmakers are cranking out like the stuff that people actually want to see, while the studios are making more and more superhero movies and this 2 and 3 and 4 and just recycling old IPs.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that this is almost like when everyone left the East Coast Edison to go west and start Hollywood, right? Because they needed to get away from Edison. That's how Hollywood started. Because Edison had all the patents on film, and we've done a ludicrous amount of research into the beginnings of film. And so that is how Hollywood started. And I think we're at a moment that is like that, where the studios and the things that have the big control over the filmmaking industry are going to lose out to independent filmmakers. And like, this is the time when people like us can decide in this moment in history what we want filmmaking to be going forward.
Yep.
So
I was going to say, is there a question?
The question then is like, what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
Look, like I said, I totally agree. Like I said, there's pros and cons, but I was saying, I feel like maybe this is it being less saturated. That's what I was trying. Like, I can now like maybe shine a little bit more. I totally agree with you on that. The problem still stands with like how us indie filmmakers are getting signed, as in, there's no, minimum guarantees anymore. Where's the money coming from?
How do we monetize?
Yeah. Right. And going to like streaming services where like, you're not really making any money. And I think you're absolutely right. I think there's going to be a time where, it could be sort of like a Renaissance time where there's somebody like the Grindhouse days where they had, these boutique theaters, welcoming, indie filmmakers to come in and screen their projects.
Yeah, there's a gap somewhere, and we need to figure out where it is and how to fill it.
Well, I think it's going to fill it. It's going to fill itself, because so we got really onto this with the whole thing of Netflix buying Warner Brothers. And I knew Warner Brothers was in trouble. Everybody did for a long time, because they were trying to sell off their DC properties because they were $10 billion in debt, because every DC superhero film they made tanked so hard. They never hit the formula. So Netflix comes in. Now, a lot of people were decrying it, but I'm looking at it as it's a paradigm shift, because I've always been like, Hollywood's day will come. We're going to put a headstone up and say, here lies Hollywood. Doesn't mean there's not going to be studios. Doesn't mean LA is going to go away. But what it means is the paradigm is shifting. Now, with streamers starting to accumulate this power, and they're going to subsume the studios, now we have a streamer mentality. And we had talked about it with Kyle a little bit, how the streamers, most of them built their backs on indie film. Like Tubi, 100% indie film. They didn't have anything that was seen by more than 3 people at any given time because they had no money. But then as they started to grow, more indie films, an older studio film, and now they've got like 6-month-old releases, and it's so difficult to find the hardcore earnest effort. I've got no money, micro budget indie films. I found a couple, one actually shot with a camcorder well past the days of the camcorder. And I'm like, you know what? This is all they could find. I'm going to watch this. All they could find was this piece of equipment, and this is actually not bad. This is a nice little film. So we're going to end up covering it at some point when we get to it. But I think that it's not that, like I said, Hollywood's going to die. I think the indie film model is going to mature and is going to take the place of the way Hollywood used to work. It's not going to be about, we need IP, we need IP, we need IP. We need a 5 million viewer bucket on the side. So we need to bring this comic book in because they got those views and stuff. And it's not going to happen overnight, but I really do think that the indie model is going to replace the old Hollywood model. And if streamers keep buying the studios, they're going to be forced at some point to acquiesce. And you know what? This is how we began. And this is where the bread and butter is coming from. Because like Netflix, it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall. They make, what was it, 100, 150 shows and pilots a year. And like 5 of them make it.
Yeah. And
the rest are just like, they're not like ever, when the time comes, like, nope, piss on it, garbage can. And I'm thinking about this when we were talking about something, the retrospective. When film was invented, when the moving picture was invented, we talked about that. And I said, all the stuff involved with that first 20 years after the Lumiere brothers, brought it out, and Elise Guy, and just all these things. There will never be a point in history for filmmaking quite like that, when nobody knew even what filmmaking was. Half of them didn't even understand what was happening. They just had money and they bought this camera that made moving pictures. And they're like, well, hell, I'll sure, why not?
We're at a major inflection point.
Yeah, we're at an inflection, but it won't be that severe.
Is going to get changed.
But I always think back to that. I'm like, man, can you imagine? That's not even like Wild West days. That is just every day is just something new. And there's no right or wrong, because every day is you're doing something that nobody else in the world has done with your camera or your piece of film in some small way. And I think now we're getting to that point where the models are going to change, where finances are not going to be so difficult to come by for indie filmmakers. I think there's room for the TikTokers and the YouTubers, because when television came out, they thought for sure radio was going to go. That was going to be it. The long-standing networks were like, maybe we should get her up to close this down. Radio's still out there. I don't care for a lot of what's on YouTube. And I certainly don't really do much with TikTok and all the influencers and content creators and stuff, but apparently people like it and keeps them going. But I think before long, you're going to have less problem getting financing. You're going to have less meetings on just what do we do. And it will be more, this is what we're doing. And, getting financing is always going to be a bit of an arm wrestle.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's not easy for anyone. Even Cameron has to prove something to get that money for the next Avatar. But I'm excited because it's you and Kyle and Cliff and Marty and David and I think a third David. There's so many people we have talked to with this podcast, which is, still
that revolution.
I mean, we'll have a filmmaking revolution.
Yeah.
But the story's the same. It's the grind. It's that, and there's no guarantee of getting any money back. And trying to get distribution, trying to get any kind of income has traditionally been very difficult, if any at all. I really feel like it might get a little uglier before it gets better.
Definitely.
But I really
no change comes without pain points.
Exactly. But I really feel like the consciousness is starting to accept that filmmaking is not 5 rich fat dudes and 1 rich woman sitting in their ivory towers pulling all the strings. People want more. They want what, like Grindhouse. We had talked about Grindhouse. We did a horror genre evolution for our retrospective. And the Grindhouse era, oh my God, they were more prolific than studios were with Westerns, when the Western was the big thing. Because you could make a Western in 2 days. All the sets are built. Everyone's using them. You just put a cowboy hat and a nice little vest on someone, shoot it in Texas for a little ambiance. Bam. But Grindhouse, they didn't even care. They're like, I got an idea. Do it. Do it. What are we going to do for special effects? Special effects? Hell, we're 2 blocks from a butcher. Go get a cow's liver and a pig's heart. And there, that's going to be our victim, right? I think, and talking with a lot of people, there's been a lot of, like, everyone's had moments of, what do I do? Is this worth it? Why? Every creative, I think, asks themselves at some point, why? Especially when things are kind of like,
am I insane? Why do I keep doing this to myself?
Yeah, but everybody pushes through it, right? And here we are.
People that are meant to push through it.
Yeah. I mean, what do you, that whole umbrella that I just threw out there, I mean, what do you see in that as, like, maybe any kind of truth or possibility?
Oh yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I could compare it to a good one also is photography, right? Like photography is like, but there's always going to be the people that are really into like film photography, and there's going to be somebody that's always going to be there and still doing it. Somebody's going to appreciate it. And I agree with you. I think that comes with the filmmaking part also. I think there's people that still want to see that, that grit, that true essence of indie filmmaking and what it takes to tell a little story here, and people put their heart to it and everything, not always Hollywood kind of stuff. People want to see that stuff, and that we haven't gone to that era. We could blame it on, whatever, Netflix or anything. I mean, anything that it's like with the radio, right? When they start buying up all the college radio stations, or they started monopolizing, and when the college radio started getting bought by the big companies, we weren't hearing that sound anymore. And I think it's kind of like that, So, we saw it shortly happening, right? When the theater chains were bought by, Sony and Regal, all these guys, and then it's slowly started happening. And I think, like you said, it's it definitely there is they're definitely suffering. I mean, I know you guys are the same way. I remember every month I'd be like, oh man, I'm going to the movies to watch that movie. I haven't felt like that in, like, I can't even tell you. I haven't felt like that. Like, sometimes I just force myself just to go to the movies, and I watch the movie. I'm like, dude, why did I just watch that film? I tried to I think what was the last film I forced myself? Oh, I saw Predator Badlands. And it wasn't bad. I actually thought it was pretty good. But I forced myself because I was like, dude, I need to go to the movies. I need to see something. But still, it's like, we're still like, 1987, 80, Predator came out, and, we're still watching Predator here. You know what I mean? And so it's, I mean, there's nothing, I mean, I wanted to see Marty Supreme, but it's not, not really want to see it, but I don't know. But, the greats are all, you got, the greats are all now not, they don't have it in them anymore making movies,
Right.
You got the new generation. And I have nothing wrong, not knocking new generation filmmakers. This is what they came into, and this is what they only know. It's not their fault or anything like that. And they do good stuff. It's just stuff that they've doing. It's,
it's homogenized work.
It's let me see if I can think of another one. It's like, I see that a lot of filmmakers also, you like, for example, I'm still an indie filmmaker. I'm always going to be an indie filmmaker, right? And I feel like indie filmmakers, they go through a time where they have to suffer, right? Maybe 10 or 15 years, right? I'm over that already. I'm still suffering, right? And then these new
Starving
filmmakers,
artist.
like, you got like 10 or 15 years of suffering, right? And that creates their magic of like, I gotta do, this is what I'm gonna do, right? And it's like 10, 15 years. And then they finally, boom, they get their big budget, then they go off. Maybe they go to Hollywood, but they still getting this money, they get investors, right? Like a Abel Ferrara, he whatever. These times, these filmmakers, they're like 5 years and boom, they want to go work on Netflix. They want to work, and they're working on these companies, and they never really built that they haven't grinded out yet. And then they're here, and then just like, you don't see that anymore. It's just not there anymore.
No.
But again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I think that there's a, I guess it's like, training of the mind, and a filmmaker takes a little bit more, I guess it took Luke Skywalker about 3 movies to be a Jedi, it took right 1 movie, you know what I mean?
I think that's the biggest hurdle right now, and it sounds odd, but theaters, I think, is the last thing that needs to be overcome. Because when I think of, just like you said, every month, man, there was going to be a new movie from someone somewhere. And it wasn't always something I was desperately wanting to see as a kid. It wasn't necessarily a horror. It wasn't sci-fi, the next Star Wars, but it was a movie, and it was exciting to go to the theater. It was exciting to be surrounded by people and have that experience. And that whole feeling started to die off. And then, because it just got to a point like, I haven't been to the theater in quite a long time. You went with Lily to see
we went to see the new Avatar movie.
Because she was desperate for it.
And there was like a mom with her 2 teenage sons next to us. And I tried talking to her. And it was not like during the movie. I'm not rude. This was before the movie actually properly started. When we're watching the previews and stuff. And, I don't know, I kind of missed that experience of like watching a movie with other people, but it doesn't feel like that when you're in a theater now. No, you still feel really alone.
Yeah, for the 3 of us to go to a movie, it's over $100. And Hollywood hasn't put anything out that made me feel like that was time and money well spent, because time is also the issue too. But with the decline of the theater experience, I think that began when they forced small theaters to switch to digital. You can't even have a film camera on your property, and otherwise you won't get distribution. So some of the pure hearts were like, well, keep your fucking digital camera. Fine. We're going to just show films. That's noble, and I would love to support that, but so many have tanked in the last few years. COVID certainly didn't help, because they're like, hand to mouth, trying to make it work, and then be shut down for a year or more. It's like, oh, what can you do? But I also think that is going to start shifting as well. As these other things up here shift, maybe those requirements for digital projectors and not having film projectors, whatever, might change. But I think in this new generation, because we have all done it, been it, and we're watching it kind of go away, and we're doing what we're doing. But I think there's going to be a resurgence because of nostalgia. The more we talk about it, the more younger people are going to hear and be like, yeah, I would love to go sit in this little dank theater with 70 chairs and watch this thing on just regular stereo, no Dolby, and hell, it's not even stereo, it's just 2 mono speakers on each side of the room. But to watch this and take a look at all the other people who like this film. I'm going to go see Zombie with a Shotgun at the Orpheum in Madison. And there might only be 40 other people there, but I will walk out of there having talked to at least 20 of them, either before or after the film. And that's kind of what it was about, was going to a movie, especially if you went with somebody else. And the second those credits start rolling, everybody stands up, you start talking. That was great. That was awesome. And you hear other people about, and maybe they didn't like it, I don't know, but there's just that energy. And I feel like that's going to come back, because the isolationism of watching YouTube in your underwear, in your bed, right? Art is, I always thought, best when shared. One person can appreciate something, and that's beautiful. As if I were the creator of it, I would be grateful for that appreciation, but sharing that appreciation. This painting made me, misty-eyed, and I don't know why. When I look at it, I feel, kind of anxious or, happy. And why? Why is that? And that's just bringing people together. I think we're doing these loops over and over throughout the decades, throughout history. And it's just going to come down to, we're going to circle back around. And I think we're going to be fans of film gathering. And we're going to see more, like in the next 10 years, I'm hoping that there'll be more, like you'll show up at a theater that's screening your film just because you can. And the people will love to see you, and they love a 15-minute Q&A after. And here's Hilton, ask them what you want. They're going to lose their minds, I think a lot of that's going to come back. I think the appreciation for the art of filmmaking is going to spread again. That's just I
agree.
My whole thing on it.
Yeah.
Because I would love to do it. I mean, like when the first new Star Wars came out, Force Awakens, I was so excited. I was going to take my daughter to see a Star Wars film that neither of us have seen for the first time. And I was just, over the moon. That was huge. The experience sucked. It was so, there's 250 people in this theater with the recliners and the stuff and the food service. The food service, I'm not going to complain. That was pretty cool. They worked that out so it didn't interrupt anything. But it didn't feel right.
That's because it's too bougie. I'd rather watch a movie in the community park with a bunch of friends and neighbors on a shitty projector on a wobbly screen, with staticky, crackly sound, but it's like, 20 to 50 of the neighborhood, like experiencing this together.
Yep.
I would much rather that than be in a like cushy recliner and get wait service at a theater.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. I want to sit on the grass and, like get up and my back's itchy because I've been sitting on the grass and, there's like imprints in it and, someone's like passing popcorn around and people are loud and it's just a fun experience.
Well, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's still kind of a goal. It was something we talked about way back when we started this whole podcast thing, would be to reach a point, which we're not anywhere near that point because we'd make a dime off this thing. And it's mostly my fault because I just don't have the time and energy to put 14 hours a day into social media posts and stuff. We just do it because we love it.
Effort into it, but I don't.
But
it's the same thing me too. Everybody it's like, why don't you do this? I was like, yeah, I'm not 16 years old. I'm 16 years old. I can do it.
Social media all day. Who do you think I
can't do it. I'm not 16.
But one thing we would love to do is like rent an old theater like that and then ask Kyle, ask Cliff, ask Marty, ask David, ask all the folks that we know, hey, we're going to do a 72-hour movie marathon. What do we need to do to get your film on the roster? And would you be available to come? Because we just think that kind of thing is awesome. There are folks like Rocky Horror Picture Show. I was 9 years old when I saw it. But my universe opened up. I'm like, oh my God, there is a whole group of people here who are being themselves. And this movie is something I've never come close to seeing before. And it was just amazing to have that synectic energy, and it was an eye opener. And I would just like to do that. Film lovers sharing their love of film with the creators and each other and, have these little marathons and just kind of like, and make enough to pay for everything. Getting kind of tired of out of pocket, but
it's true. That's true.
And maybe one day, but I do see that kind of thing happening more and more. And, that's my dream, but I want to zero back down to Zombie with a Shotgun 2.
Yep.
Cause I think the last time we talked, we were talking about its potential, but I remember reading, can't remember what it was, maybe on one of your posts or something, about Zombie with a Shotgun 2 going web series, like Zombie with a Shotgun did. And then I was kind of looking for it, and then
there was a time. Well, there was a web series. A web series started, and then we did the feature, and then we thought about possibly going back into a web series, and then we decided no, we're just going to go into part 2. We were going to introduce vampires, and this whole new vampire two, the two undead fighting each other, zombies and vampires. And that's where we left it off. I mean, we still want to do that angle. There are 2 scripts that are floating.
okay.
One with vampires, one without vampires, one with a bigger budget, one that's a lower budget. So those 2 are floating. And again, it's like, speaking to so many people, just, they want to do it, they want to do this, and then we wait and wait and wait, and then say, oh, maybe, it's just, you don't. So it's like, and raising money now on campaign is not even worth it. You're not making no one doesn't want to invest in films anymore, because a lot of people got, they didn't get their money's worth investing in campaigns.
Right.
So a lot of people now stay away from that. And it's not like when it first started, people believe, oh yeah, we're gonna raise the money and this is gonna come out. There's still people still waiting for products that they put money into,
Yeah.
And so people, the fans and the audience and the people online, they look at that as being a scam. I'm not going to put money into that no more. So that also destroyed, and I think now, is it Indiegogo, I think, changed their method, right? Now it's no more, whatever you raise, you keep. You have to, it's like Kickstarter.
You have to make the full goal to get it.
Yeah, so no more that. I think probably because of many lawsuits probably was happening. So yeah, that's another thing too about it. But Zombie with Shotgun definitely too. I'm no matter what, he's going to do it. I even told, talking to the producers, it's like, look, man, I know that we want to go bigger budget, but if we can't, you know what? Why not? Let's go back grind it out with like a small little budget, and let's just do it. Why not? You know what I mean? We can't get the big budget that we want. And I'm not, when I say big budget, I'm not saying millions and millions of dollars, but a decent budget where we can do, a really kick-ass zombie film. Part 1, we struggled doing that so much. It took 3 years to make it. I don't want to do that again.
Right.
But, but if it comes down to that, why not? You know what I mean? But I really don't want to do anything like that. So that definitely is on my mind. As in, like, you know what? I think this would be the year to decide, if we can't reach that budget that we want, we're going to do a very micro budget, just like the first one.
Right.
Just do it.
With something like that, would it be beneficial for you to do like a 6 episode graphic novel? Uh-oh.
We lost him.
He'll be back. Sometimes technical difficulties occur.
Right?
Yeah, there he is.
Okay, go for it. I don't know what happened.
Oh, like I said earlier, man, Zoom. It just sucks so hard.
So go ahead. You were saying?
I'm just in this kind of an instance. Would it be worthwhile to do like a 6? Uh-oh.
We're losing him again.
Oh no. I still have him on here, but he's frozen.
I don't hear you guys.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you froze up. That's all right. We'll pound through
No,
it.
that's cool. That happens all the time. Yeah.
It. We got shit internet anyway, so it might not be you. A six comic books, basically. A 6-issue illustrated series of Zombie with a Shotgun 2. Would it be worth doing something like that?
And then using the comic book to like raise
to say, hey, we got a lot of feedback and we got IP. But I just honestly, I don't know the cost of that kind of thing.
So, okay, here's an interesting thing that you say that, because so I already created I created 5 comic books for Zombie with Shotgun. It was loosely based on the first film, but it went all over the place. And then I was going to do a 6th one to wrap it up, to do a graphic novel. After that, I was going to start another, universe of comics. But you're right; it costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
to do comics. You wouldn't even want to know how much I spent on those 5 comics. All right, and then the 6th one was like I went like bankrupt. Not bankrupt. I just didn't have enough money to do the 6th one, but I have to do the 6th one because I want to wrap it up. I looked at it, it was kind of like a first kind of like dig into the whole comic world. I looked back at it; it was like a kind of trial and error, learning, on the job kind of thing. And like, this could have been much better, but whatever. I learned a lot. So that said, I'm like, you know what? So it's funny. So I'm saying, you know what? Maybe I should start writing as almost a story, short stories about it. We use some images that now you can probably generate through online or something like that to get a little bit more of a buzz, because the comic it costs us too much, to get an artist. But you are right that you're almost in the same exactly what I'm thinking about, getting into doing the Zombie with a Shotgun, like book series kind of stuff like that, to get it going, getting another fan base out there to get attention to it. So yeah, no, I mean, it's but yeah, this is definitely going to be the year that's going to really tell me if I should, like, I'm going to know. I'm going to like, hey, we're wasting our time here. Let's just go and, anybody, whoever has put $100 here, $100 there.
There you go. Yeah, make it your year, man. So many people we've talked to. 2025 was such a shit year for so many people, for so many reasons, like personal things going on, and forget the out.
It was definitely a weird year, and I think why was it weird? Also, there was nothing inspiring. There was no good movies. There was no good music. There was nothing that was inspiring for people. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be gems out there, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
But as in other years, you're like, there was these. Nothing was like kind of like inspiring. Everything is kind of like redundant. Kind of like already we know it's. That's what I think. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, there might be other people that say, "Oh, what are you talking about? We had this, we had that, we had this." But look, like even in the Netflix world, let's go on the streaming services. What did we have in 2025? We were still, the Stranger Things was the biggest thing, and you had these few. I think Netflix does very well with documentaries, though, and
yes,
I mean. That's just my thing. There was nothing that really was kind of like, but 2025 was definitely strange. Definitely.
I mean, that's when we picked this back up. We're just before, but 2025 we were bringing this back to life.
Yeah.
Which has taken. We started at episode 138. We're at a little over a year, but it's taken this long to get back to where we were. You know how that goes, and it's not just a momentum thing, but like the yes, repeat, no. Michael DeHaan's assistant reached out to us. It's been a long time since someone's reached out to us.
Yeah,
because we're getting back into it, and we've had 3 people reach out to us, which is wonderful to get so and so on the show or see the movie. And I'm like, cool, yeah, because that's kind of what we want to do. We want to get. If his assistant had not reached out to us, we would have never found this film, ever. It's not in the big marketplace. It doesn't show up in our algorithms at all because we're so horror based. None of the services can figure out what else we like.
It sucks, right? As being a big horror fan, like when you saw
I
like
know.
almost everything, and like I saw that,
we do that constantly. We're like, have we seen this? And we push the trailer. We're like, yeah, we've seen it.
It's half hour to 45 minutes cruising through, looking at trailers, because from the they always change the poster art and the thumbnails.
They trick
and stuff.
you, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, did we watch this? Hit the trailer. Oh yeah, god damn it. Okay, move on.
Yeah. I think my favorite like big budget movie of 2025 was Sinners.
Yeah.
I think that was the one like real good horror movie that came out, a big budget, horror movie that came out in 2025.
It was well done. Uh-oh.
Did we lose him?
Yep, I got you back.
Okay. Why don't we switch, because we were just talking about money.
Okay.
Let's talk about this whole FilmHub thing and the obstacle that has created for
the pain in his eyes.
The newcomers. I mean, the folks who are still trying to figure out how to make their feature on their iPhone because it's all they can afford, and then now this kind of thing is happening.
Yeah. Okay. So you can hear me, guys?
Yeah.
You hear me, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I need to go in another room. Maybe that's what it is.
Are you still in New York?
Yes. Okay. Still in New York. I'm out in Long Island. So it's only 25 minutes to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just turn on the lights. Hold on. I look too dark here. Oh my God. It's one of those remote lights. Oh, what did she do? Hold on. I got all these remotes. Which one? Can you see me, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, one of these lights. Is it noisy in the background, or you can hear me good?
I can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
So, what I was saying is that, oh boy, hold on, this guy's talking. Go into the red light room.
There we go.
Spooky.
Let's go into my son's room. So, yeah, because he's all of a sudden he's cooking. So I have to tell you, the FilmHub thing, I've actually learned that from Kyle. I've heard it from somebody else. So FilmHub is great, It's funny. I learned FilmHub during the first year of COVID. Actually, the beginning year of COVID was like, what was that? 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2020, I'll tell you, I had Zombie with a Shotgun just got, distributed. Believe it or not, 2019, it got distribution. And I had this documentary I did probably 2007 or 8, and the licensing, was done. I was able to get my film back. The 10 years I had signed for 10 years, and it was a documentary, but it had to do with erotic theme, right? About artists, about 6 artists that fighting Supreme Court about public domain, and it was a very interesting documentary. But it was about erotic artists that are fighting for their artwork.
Okay.
I got it released, and then I wanted to distribution to the same person that was distributing Design with Shotgun. And that person was like, oh, we don't do that kind of like distribution for that, kind of work. And he said, well, there's this new company called FilmHub. And I was like, FilmHub? So I looked into it, and that was the first film through FilmHub, and boom, like in 1 month, Amazon took the film. I was like, what? Wow. I'm like, damn, maybe I should have put Zombie through this, right? But it was too late already. I had signed a distribution deal, and it was great. I mean, I film after film after film after. I think I have 12 films with FilmHub. Okay, 12. Right. And they showed you the algorithm. They showed you what countries viewed your film, how many times, how much money, where you're getting, who's downloading, all this stuff, all the information they were giving out. And it was great because it was free. And then slowly but surely they were like, we got memberships, a couple, like I think a year or 2 years now, you can join memberships. And they would call me, they would tell me to join. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not going to join. It's like, these movies are making money, but they're not like, I'm telling you, the membership was like $100 and something a month. Like, dude, it's like fucking more than a cell phone bill. I was like, no way, but anyway, and they have you bigger packages. And then, that's when Kyle called me. I think it was like 2 months ago. I think I saw it all over the social media that they changed the whole system now, where it kind of kills the indie filmmaker again. We now it's like, you can't just put it's just not automatically free now. And what I'm understanding is, again, this is what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's the truth, but I've heard from people. It's like, it's now like you got to pay now to, like, if you can submit the film, but if the film gets accepted, there's like a fee or something that goes on with it, which before there was no fee before. You just give them the cut. It was like a 60-40, whatever.
Yeah. I think it's a $500 upfront fee. Something
weird like that. Yeah. Yes. I mean, who could, like indie filmmakers can't afford that. You know what I mean? We got, it's not fair, so. No, that's a killer. That's a killer. Cause now you have to figure out, and I would say I did get lucky. Like I got grandfathered in because I've submitted shorts. Okay. That I would never pay $500 for. I'm like, I just want people to watch the film and enjoy it, even if I make like $10 a quarter. So I'm like, I just want people to see it. You know what I mean? And I think I got lucky that I fit into that. I fit in before. Who knows? Maybe they change it. They'd be like, hey, we don't want these films anymore until you pay us. But that sucks. It really does suck. Where I mean, that's how it is all the time. And then the FilmHub started their own streaming service. It's called, I think, Relay. Yeah, right, Relay.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they've taken look. It's a strategy for them. They've taken all the submissions that people had put to FilmHub through there. So any person that submitted through FilmHub, they took all their films into this service. Mm-hmm. They even taken a film of mine that no one wanted to take, and they took it. And they're like, oh, we'll take this film. They even emailed me saying, hey, just to let you know, we're going to take this film, even though Amazon, others don't take it, we'll take this and, promote the film, into our streaming service. But I don't think that's going to work. I mean, it's $4.99 a month. I mean, Tubi's free.
Yeah.
Right.
And hey, Gabe, you come in? You can come in. Yeah. So it's like, Tubi's free. I mean, dude, there's a lot of places. Pluto's free. Pluto got some good stuff too, and it's free.
FilmRise is all right.
Yes, FilmRise. Yes, FilmRise has a lot of television stuff that you can't find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's a lot of free stuff, and yeah. I think even Amazon offers like the Amazon Freevo. I think it used to be called.
Oh,
I don't even know.
Freevee.
Yeah,
yes.
I think my web series is on Freevee, and yeah, and then you got $4.99. That's just like, who knows? But it is a killer. I mean, but I have to say, FilmHub did a lot in the filmmakers. I have to really say and I known a lot of people that were making a living through it, and they still are making a living through it. But now it's just this new sort of like submission form kind of thing. But FilmHub did save and help a lot of filmmakers to not go through the aggregators, even though FilmHub is like aggregated, but not go through the middleman, all those scams and anything, because FilmHub is still good in ways where, you still can see how much money, where the money's coming from. And if you want your film to be dropped, like you say, I don't want your distributor more, you can cancel that contract anytime. Oh. Again, I don't know what's new now with this whole new thing, because I don't have a new film, which soon I will have a new film going in there, like in a month. So I'm going to find out the whole, the process of it. Right. So, but I do like the whole FilmHub system for filmmakers, because, everything is, right in front of you, I forget, like a 70-30 cut or 60-40 cut. I forget, 70-30 cut, but it shows you where the money's coming from, how you getting the money, and it pays you every time. Like, like other distributors that I was with, I never knew what was going on. I never saw anything. They would argue with me, and so this is good. This is good. But again, the new system for new filmmakers do suck. But I have not gone through that yet to know what really is
the ins
happening.
and outs of it.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know how it is. They probably have another company will come in just like FilmHub, and FilmHub will be bought. That's what I was telling Kyle. I was telling Kyle, I have a feeling this is all to be bought. You know, they're going to try to build this whole library, this whole streaming service library, and see how many people are downloading the app, how many people have the app, and then eventually they're going to have some people who's interested, and they're going to sell it off, and then we might be done.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so
it's sad. But I mean, it's also business, and we've talked about that in a couple of our ramblings at the end of episodes. Of film is art is creativity. Creatives have a whole way of being and thinking and doing things, but at the end of the day, you cannot ignore the fact that no matter what you're making, pictures, paintings, sculptures, film, photographs, it's business. And that's why I stopped photography, because film was so difficult. Excuse me. I wasn't going to take on the whole thing of developing all my film all the time. I used to develop my black and white pictures because I loved doing black and white, but that's not the stuff that pays the bills. That's the stuff that I do. And I can go, hey, look.
That's the stuff that you make coffee table books.
Yeah. That nobody buys. But for the business side of it, for like the weddings, especially weddings and other event portrait kind of things, I just got so sick of arguing with people about, Aunt Tilda has a new Nikon. Well, you know what? Let Aunt Tilda do this. Forget my 25 years of being a photographer. You let Aunt Tilda and her new camera capture the one day of your life that you want to document from beginning to end. You do that. And then in 10 years, when you're looking at that, whatever crap you put in that cheap little book, call me up and tell me how you feel. Because, how many pictures of thumbs and pinkies, stuff you're going to get. But because of the business side of it, it was just so difficult. And then, going to digital, and that's fine. But then I had to compete against people who I would never in my life come to you and say, Hilton, I will photograph your wedding. You and your wife will have this special day. I'll do it from beginning to end. I'll do all coverage on her on the getting ready thing and the whole thing. I'll cover everything. And I did it very, very cheap too. That was the other thing. I never intended it to be my all year only job, but mostly because I just love the photography. But the competition was people didn't understand the numbers. I'm going to show up with a disc that'll have maybe 40 pictures from the ceremony. And then whatever else getting ready, the poses and stuff. But there are people who I see on Instagram, the life of a wedding photographer. I have to filter through 4,500 photos. What the hell are you doing? 40. That's not a photographer. That's a dude with a camera. And there's a huge difference. That would be like you strapping a GoPro to your forehead and then walking around for a week and then sitting down and then bitching, I got to piece this together in some kind of documentary. What the hell?
Yeah.
Spray and pray, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so true.
But I think that too is what is going to move all of this beyond these sticking points. Real good cameras are still expensive, but you don't need a $80,000 to $120,000 camera to shoot a movie. If you have big budget and you know what you're doing, because like we were going to shoot a short, and I did all the pricing. I picked out my Blackmagic camera and the right lenses, and I had a number to work with, so I couldn't go hog wild. I'm like, okay, I need at least the three basics. All right, I need to be able to do tight, wide, and medium. These are the lenses for that. They're well rated, and here's the lighting, here's the booms, and here's the sound recording. And after that, you got to stop because now we got to pay actors. So that was that. So I know it can still be quite pricey, but it is not as prohibitive as it used to be. And I mean, the hardcore stance is if you have an iPhone or you have anything, shoot it. Just do it. Don't wait 5-10 years for the big chunk to fall into place. Do something, because here's the best part. And I know some filmmakers have done like their student films 20 years later. They're like, you know what? I'm going to make that with some real money, real equipment. And they do. So you can always redo something. But with all of this, so you got to have equipment, you got to have money for it. Like where you're in New York, it's easy to rent equipment. I don't know if you have like your own stash or if you rent what you need you need.
Yeah. No, and everything you're saying is so true. You know, just to piggyback that really quick, me and my friend was talking about the other day about like how all the cameras that we worked with like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we were like, dude, we should try to get our hands on those cameras. Those cameras was still good, and they actually had a different look that these cameras don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about DSLRs and everything, and we were talking about that. It was like so many cameras, and like, oh my god, maybe we should try to get our hands on that one, you know, because it had a different, you know, vibe, feel to it. So yeah, no, absolutely, you know, and to go back to what you were saying about equipment, New York. Yeah, New York. Look, that's the thing about New York, and you know, especially, you know, when I was, you know, from New York City, Manhattan myself, in Chinatown was like one of the best places. You know, you could find everything. And when growing up there, when I was shooting film, it was just so easy. Dime a dozen getting actors, actresses, cameras, equipment, crew. Not like that anymore, though. You know,
I would imagine it's probably changed a lot.
Yeah, COVID changed everything. It's not the same anymore. Before COVID, you still were able to do that. You know, and because it kind of became like a self-indulging kind of like new like era generation. People was like, oh, it's about me, not you anymore. You're gonna have to give me money now. You know, before it was able to get anybody to come in and say, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you make your project good. You know, now it's like everybody wants to be the main character. So I get that. You know what I mean? So like, so it's like. It was so easy to get all the stuff. So now I used to own a lot of my equipment. I used to own a lot of my again, it's funny because I used to do a lot of photography, a lot of black and white photography, and I used to own a lot of my equipment. Eventually I said to myself, no, I can't do this anymore. And I used to buy like one good camera a year, like a Black Magic I would buy, whatever like that. But then I have my, you know, you always have a director always has their DP, their guy, their main guy to go to.
Right.
So throughout my time of filmmaking, I'd always have like, I think like 5 years, I had one guy that I always work with, and he had all his equipment. And then another like 7 years, I had one guy I always work with. And now I have my other guy now. I've been working for him for like maybe 10 years. And he has like cameras galore. So it's like basically I'm like, hey, what do you have? We're gonna shoot low light. Oh, I got this camera. So he has like, let's say he has like probably like 7 cameras. So that's the great thing about it. Him and I are like, you know, that's my guy. So I was like, hey, we're gonna shoot this. Can we get this camera? I was like, cool. And that's how we go with this stuff. So I'm very lucky with that. Very, very lucky to have a guy like that. And I think a lot of directors that shoot projects always have that one to go guy, and that's my one to go guy. So I get that. So I'm very lucky. I have a lot of lights, got a lot of equipment, got like light stands. I got recording equipment, sound equipment. I own all that stuff, but so does he. He also, as well, okay. He owns a lot of the equipment also. I just don't own the cameras anymore. It just got too expensive. I actually gave him my cameras because he's done so much stuff for me. I'm like, hey, you know what? When it's time to shoot it, you use my camera or whatever, but here, take the camera and just, you know, do whatever you're going to do because you're going to use it more.
Nice.
I used to shoot myself a lot as I got older. I just concentrated per project kind of thing. Like I didn't go out like let me shoot the birds or like shoot, you know, like let me shoot, let me shoot it's raining. Let me experiment with this lens. Let me experiment with this. Like not anymore. I'm okay.
I just want to get it done now.
Yeah, I was like, nobody wants to look at that on YouTube. Who's gonna look at my birds? You know what I mean? So I was like.
You'd be surprised, man.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, you know, so like, I just, you know, kind of concentrating on just developing projects more than just, and you know how it is. Time is just, you can't do everything, man. And it's funny because,
Right.
I did photography. I did a lot of black and white photography, and I loved it. And I gave it up because you can't do filmmaking. You can't do, people say, oh, you could. I said, no, you can't. It's just, you can't. You got to concentrate on one. And I mean, I did see the writing on the wall in photography, and, went into filmmaking early, but I still love photography. I mean, go,
Well, you never forget your first love.
Yeah, I mean, developing black and white. I always wanted to, make my own like dark room here, and I have my professors and my teachers like, oh, anytime we'll come out there and we'll help you build it. And I'm like, I don't know if I have time for that. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, this Thursday, I am shooting my the documentary I was talking about, the gentleman who shot 60 Years as Family. He's showing me his dark room, developing 3 photos. We're actually going to be shooting him, developing the photographs in black and white and everything.
Nice.
Ooh.
Chemistry. So we're going to be doing that on Thursday. So,
cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, as an equipment, I'm lucky with that. But here in New York, you know how it is. You could go anywhere. Even here in Long Island, you could rent equipment. And if you could rent here in Long Island equipment, you could rent anywhere, so... but New York City is just, you can find people, you don't even have to go to rental. You could, somebody wants to rent it out that has the equipment. So rent it out.
Right.
So that's, I
might have told you before, when I was doing my photography, almost everything I got was from Adorama in New York, because they were just awesome. And, living in the Midwest, the whole idea of showing up and say, hey, can I rent this, wasn't an option. But I loved the availability, because anything I could think of, they're like, yep, we got it. It's not on the website, but we have it. Let me hook you up.
Yeah, no, I love Autorama. I mean, I rather prefer them than B&H.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
B&H is just like one huge place, and it's like
Costco.
Yeah.
They got a lot of stuff, but not a lot of like know-how, and that's what sold me on Adorama, because I'm like, okay, here's what I want to do. Didn't cover this in photography school, and I haven't stumbled on it. And almost every time, if they didn't have the answer, it'd be like, well, let me discuss. I'll give you a call back, or they'd have someone call me back and be like, hey, use this or do this. We have this, I'll cut you a deal. And it was just really great. But that's kind of the thing. The exponentially increasing availability of almost every kind of tool, gadget, anything available to folks. Like, I mean, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, but we're not like in like the belly button of Montana, where it's 150 miles to the next living creature, right? But that person can match what you do, or move beyond. In terms of equipment, the availability is there. They have to, obviously buy it pretty much if they have the money. I think that's pretty great. But that brings us back to, so if everyone's making movies, why aren't they all out there? And I guess one of my questions for you, aside from getting the money, having the equipment, obviously having a script, you get past all that. You shoot this film, and then you got to do editing and everything. What would someone who, they just finished their dream, they just edited their VHS tape together or whatever they used, and now they have a movie, but they don't know what to do with it. And every time we've always talked about like distribution and things like that. What would the next best step for them to do? They have their finished film. They don't even know the terminology yet. They're listening to this podcast and like, I want a lesson in something, What would you say? What would your heart tell you the next thing to do with your finished film is? Would you reach out for distribution? Would you do local showings? Would you try to get it on a service? What do you feel?
Well, that's a tough one. Okay. If it's an indie film where is indie actors, There's, everything is indie.
Yeah, there's no SAG. There's no
still SAG.
Yeah.
I would say, if people want to try out I really don't like the film festival circuit as I used like before. I don't think it's,
It's
they already know
changed
what,
too.
they already know what films is going to be screened. They're just taking your money and all that stuff. And if you don't have any connections in the film festival world, it's going to be really hard. Basically, that's what it is. It's always
Okay.
who you know in the film festival world. But if you want to do like little local film festivals just to see people's response and what people think, you can go that way. If you want to go into like, reach out to distributors, do your homework. Go find out the 3 indie film distribution companies that people find a film that's just like yours and see where they got distributed. Say, okay, this film is like mine. He's getting distribution. Maybe reach out to the director.
Okay.
And reach out to the director and say, hey, look, I got a film. What do you think about the distributor you're with? Is that a good place? That person will tell you.
Yeah.
They will tell you if it's good or not, because just because it's distributed doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
And if you really just want to get your stuff out there and you think your film, has what it takes, find a place like FilmHub.
Okay.
And they will shop your film. They will see who wants to take it. And I think that's a good choice. So those are 3 choices. 3 choices there. It's like FilmHub is one of them. If you just want to like, you know what? I don't give a shit about film festivals. I don't have time to do my homework and reach directors and go through this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to, talk to these aggregators, all these. I'm just going to put my thing with FilmHub. Number 2, if you want to just do your homework, you really want to do your homework. And then number 3, if you want to just test out the film festivals, you want to check out that whole, it's good to network, then you could do that and see if like there's any buzz where somebody says, hey, we want to pick up your film. You can do that as well.
Okay.
But it all depends on the person.
I like the idea of one of the options being reach out to like the director or maybe even somebody, involved with the film. Because I mean, one of the things that we always talk about is that we're a community. We'll never all meet because there's, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of us. We're not on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We're not doing red carpet. We're not in that cloistered little group. We're just random creatives out doing the things. We're writers. We're not really filmmakers. So we're kind of absent that whole thing.
But if you reach out to like an independent director, you're not going to get a response that's like, I'm not going to help you. You're competition to me.
You might. So I might
possible, I guess.
I might be slanted in saying this, but we have been very lucky with you and Kyle and so many others. Everyone we've met is just so gracious with their time for things like this. Like if you got an email, Mr. Ruiz, I did this film. It's done. It's, it's this genre. It's 116 minutes and it's shot on this, done on this, done on this. Where would you say I should put this based on, location, whatever. I would have a hard time thinking you would look at that email and just hit delete. Like, fuck that guy.
No, I don't usually, I always help out. And not too long ago, somebody asked me, like a week ago, said, hey, I want to start writing screenplays. What do you suggest? And I just, I took a link of Sid Field's screenwriting book and from Amazon.
Yeah.
And I told him, you have to read this book.
Yeah, the Bible.
I said, you have to read this book before you go anywhere. Once you read this book, you will know exactly where you're at, what you need to do. You'll learn a lot more. You'll probably figure if, maybe I should take more classes or I should read more books on it, or you think you know what you're doing. And then maybe you want to read more of Sid Field's books, so like, and I always, when people reach out to me, I'm all the time, a lot of people reach out to me, say, hey, what camera you use? Not as much as before, but a lot before. Like, what camera did you use? Did you use that? Did you use this? Did you use that? So it's like, yeah, and then, so yeah, no, when somebody asks for help, I always help out.
See, and that's where everyone that we've had the pleasure of being able to speak with, and some folks that we've met outside of all this. And I think that is like one of the greatest strengths of this. And we always tell at the end of every episode, we're your tribe, not just because Danny and I are sitting here doing a podcast, but everybody we're doing it for, everybody we're talking to, all the movies that we watch, everyone who's been ever in it. We're all the tribe of creatives who are outside of the commercial mainstream. We are all we have, and we are our greatest strengths. And, I always had a hard time thinking, I know there's some out there has to be odds, right? Someone who just won't talk to anybody, won't help you. Nope, you figure it out.
Yeah, there's always
ball breakers, but
99.9%.
Well, and because we're doing this to share our love of film to newcomers, get advice from people like you, to talk about movies and say, okay, this movie was good, but man, this part really sucked, or this movie was so bad, so everything about it, don't do it. Actually give your characters names, actually have sentences. Don't just, little things. And some of it's, kind of sounds, asshole-ish, but that's the other thing. If you want to do any of this, you have to be able to sit and stare somebody straight in the eye while they look at you and say, God, I hated this movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, can you tell me why? Are you just like going to be like, I hate it for no reason? Or because, that's the whole thing. When we turn in a script, you get notes. And if you get broken up by the notes, you're not going to get very far. You got to be able to take those notes, suck it up, and be like, you know what? I get it. And, make changes, do whatever. But the whole thing of helping people, we actually have kind of official jobs on the side as script consultants because we offered to help 2 other filmmaking friends. You ever need us for something?
Yeah.
We'd be happy to, like I said, we're not filmmakers per se, so I don't have a lot of resources and knowledge on like hands-on set kind of thing. But, same thing with you. You got something going, and if there's anything at all we could contribute, we would be happy as hell to do it, and don't even need to talk money, because it's not. Money's important because it is a business, but in this kind of thing, they're like, well, maybe we can work on payments. We'll do it. Let's worry about that after the movie's made, if it gets that far, I'm excited to be working with another person, another creative, to help them with their thing. Because maybe one day, we might have a thing we might need help with, kind of
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what keeps us alive and strong, and going through those moments of, got so much shit to do.
Yeah.
But you had that clarity.
Yeah. No. You're absolutely right. It's a community, we've been there where, at one time you've been with people that feel like you're their community, and then when they get there, they tend to act like they don't know you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
But you know what? That happens with family too. So everyone is super close to that kind of thing.
And friends.
You just gotta push through it and learn to look at so Stephen from Georgia just shit on us big time. You know what? That's fine. 'Cause you know what? I'm just gonna call Hilton and just talk shit for 10 minutes.
That's amazing, because I actually know someone named Stephen in Georgia, and he's a jerk.
That is funny.
What would, as like the wrap up, what would your biggest, lesson, piece of advice for folks right now? Like, they've been meddling with it, but they're still fairly new to all this, and we've talked about how you see things different. We see things are different now because since COVID and what's going on. At any level, not just like full filmmaker, but anyone who wants to get involved in that activity. What would you say to them to kind of give them something to put in their pocket and carry with them as they move forward, that they can like a remembering stone, just like, oh yeah, I'll get through this. I'll get through this.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to sound like the old man that, like, back in my days, it was, it was harder. But I have to say, it's easy.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. I want to say that for it doesn't matter what age you are and you want to get into filmmaking now. It's definitely easier. You could shoot stuff in film. It's like you could
shoot
invest
stuff on your phone.
Yeah, you could shoot you could buy a $3,000 studio. Right, you could buy your editing suite, your computer, your camera, your sound equipment, your lights. You can do it. Even less, you can do that. You can do it. I'm just put out a good number, $3,000. You could do it, right? So now it's so much easier. Now with AI helping you and everything like that. And I have nothing against AI. Eventually, it is what it is. And it's gonna, whatever you want to call it, take over, whatever. But it is what it is. So, but what I would say is that if you want to create a film, make a movie, whatever you want to call it, and it's that you have to make sure you're going to pick a project that you truly believe in. Because when you truly believe in that one project, everyone around you is going to see it. They're going to see that this guy is very passionate and he believes in this project. And if he believes in it so much, I'm going to believe in it as well. And I'm going to put as much as I can to help this guy's dream come true. And that comes with actors, crew members, camera guys, and everything. They see it, they feel it, they smell it. And I think that's very important when it comes to making a film. If you believe in the project and you surround the people that will come and see how you believe in it so much, they will too. And that will make your project better. It will make it much more worthwhile than you just going out there to make a project. So that's my advice I would give to somebody who really wants to do a project. Make sure you believe in it and that you feel that this is the one that, you really want to make everybody around you, to create that synergy around you, to make the best you can with what little you have.
I love that.
Well,
that is
well said.
Yeah, that is magical.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we have kept you moving from room to room, fighting fighting a bad signal.
You know what I laugh? I got kicked out of each room. You didn't see it, but each time I moved, it's like I got kicked out. They looked at me and I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I got kicked out of each room. I mean, because you know what it is that today's holiday, Martin Luther King. Yeah. So everybody's home, nobody's working.
Oh,
so
sure.
It's like, so everybody's like here and it's like, move out, get out. It's like, okay. But no, it's okay. It's perfect day for talking with you guys because today's like a chill day. Yeah. And also it's snowed just it's that when it snows but it really doesn't snow but it's still ugly outside.
Yeah.
With like sleet and ice. I mean, you guys in Wisconsin, so you guys see it every day, but it's like ugly outside. So it's like kind of like everybody's indoors today.
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for spending time with us and hopefully we can get you and Kyle on because I want to see that show, man. I spoke to him about it already, and then he was like, "Yeah, man." I told him, "Man, we're waiting on you. Just let us know whenever you're ready." But,
do you have anything you want to plug, Hilton?
I have again, if anybody wants to see my work, I have stuff in Amazon. Tubi, I think I have 5 projects I have in Tubi. Awesome, I have also projects. I got projects Lex, a lot of everywhere. But if you Zombie with a Shotgun is one thing that a lot of people like about it, and people probably hearing it for the very first time. You can follow me on Twitter /X, whatever they call it now, Instagram. And You just type in Zombie with a Shotgun, or even my name, Hilton Ariel Ruiz. And if you guys follow me, follow you back. You have any questions, you could hit me up, and I could, well, you can just Google Zombie with a Shotgun. You can see whatever it's showing, which streaming services.
Okay.
But yeah, don't anybody who's listening to this, you have any questions, you can ask me, DM me. Might get it to you in a day or two, but I'll get back to you guys. I'm always cool talking to anybody, teaching anybody who wants to learn anything. What else I can say? I just started. I've created my own website now, so it's HiltonArielRuiz.com. Also short HiltonRuiz.com, and there you can see a lot of my links. There you can see some of my bio and stuff like that. I'm still, I'm doing another section of documentaries this week actually. So that's really important now to have. I've been always been saying, "Oh, get a website," and finally, I'm like, I always say it, everybody, because everybody always says, "Do you got a website?" It's like, no, just Google me. So I'm tired of saying Google me. So now I'm like, all right, here's my website now. So
Sweet.
so now you can check my website. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. Tubi would be a great place because Tubi is free. And you get so you get like type in my name or type in some of my project like Zombie with a Shotgun, and you get to see all the stuff. I have 666. I got the Amityville in there.
666 is on Tubi?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on Tubi now.
Because we bought it through Amazon when it hit.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's weird because Tubi took in the 3 first episodes of because there's 8 episodes in 666, the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tubi must have saw that I also had on FilmHub, it was there. I also had the first 3 episodes, and they took that as well. So it kind of confuses people because there's like 2 666s, but one is like an episodic. It's actually the first 3 of the movie anyway.
Okay.
So if you watch the movie, you get those first 3 that they also offering is you rather watch the whole film, which is Beyond the Halls of Paradise 666. Yeah, the 8 episodes that I keep on forgetting about that film. And that's a lot of work.
It's great.
That project took a lot of work to do with all those 8 films. But anyway, that's another story we'll get next time.
All right.
I will load up the show notes as usual with as much stuff as I can find. And then, feel free to send me like links and stuff, especially like with the book coming out and everything.
Yes. I'm going to be launching it next. I'll send you that. I'm going to be launching it the next, I would say 2-3 weeks. On just to piggyback off of that, I'm getting a lot of people that's telling me, get it on Amazon and everything. And they told me that I should have another extra work on top of that so people can go read it also. So I've also created this crime thriller called Bishop. Okay. It's a 5-book piece. I already completed it as well. So I'm going to release all that with the book as well.
All right.
I was going to release that, but everyone's telling me, a lot of these, like a lot of my writer friends that have been doing this for years, they're like, you just can't release that. And I'm like, why? And they're like, you can't. These are the rules. I said, okay. What's the rules? You better write something else. I said, okay. He said, just in case they like that, they want to read something else. I was like, great. And I had this other project, which again is called Bishop.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, we'll get everything we can in there and whatever you send us. B-Siders, you have had the privilege of listening to another great interview, and this one with Mr. Hilton Ariel Ruiz, filmmaker extraordinaire, and will always have a place in our heart with Zombie with a Shotgun because I was just a ball in film, folks. If you haven't seen it, see it. If you haven't listened to us cover it, listen to us cover it. Do it all. So we'll be talking to you again, fairly soon when we can get you and Kyle on. Looking forward to that.
I'll remind him tomorrow.
Excellent.
Right. Well, until next time, B-Siders, this is Danny.
And this is Jim.
And we'll catch you later.
Bye.